And then, yeah, the big every industry thing I'm seeing is, will Sinners beat Minecraft? I'm like, who cares? Who cares?
That's not what we're hoping for. At least not in our
Warner Brothers is still getting most of the ticket sales for this weekend.
This is the Off the Break Podcast, your podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies. Now, here are your hosts, Cody, Kyle, and Ken.
Welcome back to an all Warner Brothers, all week, Off the Break Podcast.
Hey, it's Warner Bros. Month.
Hey.
Why settle for the week?
Number 1 and number 2 this coming weekend.
But which one will it be? Sinners or Minecraft?
Everybody's saying $40 million is the number that these two are fighting over. 40 to 45 million is where they're sitting. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. If anything else does any money, that's another $100 million weekend.
Hey.
We know King of Kings is going to hold up because it's Easter weekend. Mm-hmm. They did the right thing.
Yeah.
They gave themselves a week before Easter to get this in, get some excitement around it.
They didn't release it a month prior.
They didn't release it a month prior. They didn't do what every film company does, is release a movie. Like this year, Halloween is on a Friday. Mm-hmm. There are horror movies slated for that day.
Yes.
There will be no Saturday business. There will be no Sunday business. There will be no following week's business. You have to give these a runway, at least a little bit.
Some breathing room, yeah.
I think it was close enough that it didn't get washed over by Minecraft. I mean, it was still a $20 million opening, which was huge for Angel Studios. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of qualifiers in the articles that I was seeing, like number 1 opening for an animated, faith-based, independent film. Right. And it was like, no, it's just a good opening.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's great.
$20 million for an animated movie that's not from one of the big 6 is a huge deal.
Yeah, about $20 million for King of Kings. Great job by Angel Studios.
And Lionsgate would be freaking out about a $20 million opening for any movie.
Yeah. So
this is a big deal. And so it's awesome. We are heading into another $100 million weekend.
Yeah, with just a good mixture of all things, like an R-rated action movie down to Minecraft for family friendly or at least kids entertainment.
A lot of
and
things
even King of Kings falls into that.
Overperformed what the numbers were coming in like Friday morning. So we're in a solid place where we're seeing some stuff that's going to be good, and we've got decent movies almost every week in the pipeline.
Yeah.
There's always a week off after Marvel stuff. Mm-hmm. There's not a big one the week after Thunderbolts, but then we get into the heat of this. The heat is on. We're ready for some summer.
Very ready.
It's May, which means that it's summer for everyone else but school.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what the weekends are for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why most little theaters don't have 11 o'clock shows on Tuesdays because there's no one there.
Well, I'm going to bring up the end of May then. I'm going to bring up that Memorial Day weekend since we're mentioning it now. It has Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
We know that Memorial Day weekend is usually a very anticlimactic weekend.
Yeah.
We've seen for the past few years, so I'm wondering if these movies are going to be the exception.
Yeah, the movies matter.
Okay.
How good the movie is matters.
Yeah.
People, we're in the Mountain West. Like people go south and they go camping and they spend time out in the woods this time of year. They go hiking. They have barbecues. They do those kind of things here where we're at. Even if we're expecting snow in the forecast, they'll leave. And
Most likely.
leave and do it elsewhere. But everywhere else, like even if you do travel for Memorial Day weekend, guess what? There's a movie theater by a lake. There's a movie theater next to where you're going, and we will see grosses for these movies.
Yeah.
With how well respectively Snow White did for our theaters. It wasn't Minecraft. It wasn't massive, but it was a $45 million opening. Like we should easily see that for both of these movies at the same time for another $100 million weekend.
Hey.
And that's kind of like going to have to be our judgment stick for a while, is if we can, as an industry, get to that $100 million, that means that there's enough product on screen. There's not just one movie that performed okay.
Right.
That got us to that point. It's like consistent numbers every weekend. And then, the big, every industry thing I'm seeing is, will Sinners beat Minecraft? I'm like, who cares? Who cares?
That's not what we're hoping for. At least not in our
Warner Brothers is still getting most of the ticket sales for this weekend.
They're winners no matter what.
Yeah. I think, as long as Sinners doesn't fall below that $35 million
I don't think it
standard
will.
deviation, as long as it doesn't fall below that number, I think it's fine. 40 easily turns into $100 million for the run and domestically, and that turns into a movie that at least paid for itself for Warner's, and that's what they needed to do.
I think I'm now itching for this movie and getting really excited for Sinners, but I feel like it could overperform. I feel like it could get to 50 or past 50 million.
I sure hope so, because if you take the Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan factor out of it and just take the movie at face value for what it is, a movie about the Jim Crow South and vampires, like that is not a good premise to start with. But hopefully the star power and the director power is going to make something special out of this.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, especially the filmmaking in it looks different
Yeah.
compared to everything else that we see, or most everything else we see. So I feel like audiences right now could be itching for
It's a cinephile
something
movie,
a little different.
You nerds.
It is.
I'm going to ruin that with my bucket pick this weekend. There's no cinema to be had here.
I'm not in this for the cinema.
Well, we'll get to that later and get to what our next bucket picks will be.
Does that mean you want to start that now?
No, I'm ready. I'm just excited because I'm excited.
This is your pick.
Because it's
gonna
my
be
pick.
your pick.
I know it's my
next.
pick. It's the last one in the bucket. I can read it through the paper. I'm very excited.
We were all rooting for you, and that really fell short.
Yes.
We were. Yeah.
Well, no, we can get into, another thing we've waited on for half a decade are these windows to come back.
The latest news I've been seeing is that 3 studios seem to be on board with a strict 45-day theatrical window.
Oh, let me guess. Disney, Sony, and Paramount, because they've kept a 45-day window.
Yeah.
That was my next lead in. It's like you guys read my mind.
I know. And
Same song and dance.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was when we went to CinemaCon, Cinema United, Show West in Vegas. This was the thing that they were working on, and they are never going to get all 6 majors to agree to anything.
Right.
They couldn't agree that the sky was blue, the water's wet. Like it's
too much.
It's
yeah.
not going to happen. The fact that these things came through was because in the beginning of it was the Paramount decrees that they couldn't own the theaters, so they had to work with independent businesses in the first place.
Yeah.
Second thing was that it took 90 days to create a VHS and get it to Walmart. And then with DVDs, it was still the same process. It was faster.
Yeah.
But it was still like, we're at 76 days. We might as well wait. We might as well wait another 2 weeks and drum up some excitement on television ads and things like that. This is we live in an automatic world, and once you've opened Pandora's box, you cannot close it.
Which we did.
There's absolutely no way. If this happens, I put it at 1,000 to 1. I don't know how. And then if they
We'd
agree
be
to
dancing
this,
in the streets.
if the big 6 agree
Something
to
became
this,
agreed.
then you know what's going to happen is the Neons, A24s of the world are going to get a hit, and they're going to put it on streaming in 17 days. They're going to do the same thing because it worked for the big guys. It made the big guys a lot of money.
They've been so good at not doing that.
They have been, but they're
Don't
going to
do it, guys.
It's going
Hold
to
out.
it's a
Yeah.
thing now. It's just that's the way the world works.
just so automatic,
Yeah.
so instant.
Well, I would say a studio head that is in one of the other 3 companies that shall not be named, but it's pretty obvious who they are, is going to, it may rescind. Like, okay, we'll go to 45 days. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then they'll have a movie that doesn't work. He gets fired. And guess what? He shows up at a roadside at a neon. And he's like, you know how we made so much goddamn money? You know how much money there was out there for this? You know that we take home like 98% of all this money that people pay to stream
Yeah.
this at home? It's just a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, and it always will be a never-ending cycle. I know for Alyssa and Shayla, they heard plenty of people talk up about the 45-day window and the encouraging to have that. And it just, at least for myself, like I think I've heard that not just within, our office space, but also at like the first CinemaCon I went to. So for you guys, I don't know. Did you see that? Did you notice that as well? Just those conversations and just, you're in agreement of it, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, the longer something can stay in theaters is great for us. But I just don't, I'm with Ken. I just don't see it happening. I think we're too far gone.
Yeah.
I think you can keep hyping it up. But, I mean, each CinemaCon, I imagine, just going to get less and less. I imagine it's not going to happen. They're going to be like, oh, we're going to do this.
Right.
And everyone in the
It'll be
audience is
something
like,
else.
For real
yes.
this time.
It'll be
Sure.
something else. I saw an
Yeah.
article with James Cameron talking about how the best way to experience Avatar now is going to be with headsets. It's not like actually in the theater because you can't get the blacks black enough.
Oh, I think I
and the
heard
whites
that
white
too.
enough.
God.
So that'll be the next thing. How do we get
Yeah.
50 million VR headsets out to every theater and get this started in time?
I guess that could be. I could easily see not just him, but tech companies as well being like, we gotta get into the movie business, but like we can't make the studio thing work. What if we made our own movie theater, but everyone shows up and then you put on a VR headset? Like I could totally see.
Oh, for sure.
It sounds so
No.
apocalyptic in a dark sense, but that's.
I mean, VR is where stuff's going, so
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me.
Cinephiles in the audience. This is arachnophobia with the smell-o-vision
Yeah.
over again. It's just one of those things like watching with the way Minecraft has gone, like watching theaters and having that communal experience for a lot of these kids is how they're going to remember movie theaters. If the first movie you see is you walk into a room, put on a VR headset and sit down with 40 other people, like that's how you're going to remember movies. But as long as we keep this going in this
Yeah.
general direction, if we don't upset the boat that much, how I'd say 99% of audience can't perceive black from true black
Yeah.
on the same screen.
to the naked eye. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't perceive it. So let's give them a 99% experience. Let's be okay with giving them the best possible presentation we can based on the budgets and the limits of
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
independent locations.
We got to first make sure that every movie could look as close or pretty good to Avatar standards. We don't need to worry about
we don't need
Every movie
how deep
being,
of blue
yeah.
can we make this water.
we don't need to plug into the Matrix here, guys.
Yeah.
As much as the fat guy in me would love to just like scan my palm print to pay for things, as much as I would love that and just be like Visa, Citibank, like have it, wave it over and have it work, I would love it. I'll deal with the monotony of having to pull up my wallet, pull out the card, tap it and it doesn't work, then put the chip in and pull it out too quick, and then
Yep.
put it back in again. I'll go through that if it means we get to keep our in-theater experience the way
Right.
it exactly
Yeah.
is. If we
Nice
can
to
just
know where your morals stand.
pause time right here, I would love it. I would love all those things, but I don't want to have to plug in at night to recharge myself.
We were talking last week about Minecraft and how bananas a lot of people's screenings were when it comes to how kids and teens were just reacting during the movie or just playing along with like the inside jokes of the movie or whatever. I guess at the very least, I would rather hear these types of stories over hearing VR helmet realities.
Yeah.
So-
1,000,000%. And also as a guy with a giant head, like I'm not looking forward to having to ask the usher, can I get the extension on that strap so it'll fit my head?
Keep going. Keep going.
I need the seatbelt extender for my face, please.
Have you done the VR thing before? I assumed Alyssa has.
Yeah.
Alyssa, you probably, yeah, okay.
Tech nerd over here, of course she has.
Yeah.
Okay, not tech nerd, gaming
Okay, sorry,
nerd, more
yeah,
like
gaming.
it.
Gaming nerd.
Yeah.
It's
Said the cinephile.
it's really come a long way. Like I grew up where it was like in a mall near you and you'd go and like walk around and be
Yeah.
like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
I mean, we got one for our boys at Christmas because we were just like, I can't come up with anything else to buy these children. I don't know what else there is. And it is
Minecraft gift cards? Is that a thing?
so many of those.
iTunes
Probably.
gift cards?
So many of
kind
those things already. I was running out of options and I bought it and I'm setting this thing up and I'm like, this is crazy. This is insane. Like to come from somebody who played 8-bit Mario,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong on
Yeah.
plug the thing in. It is wild. And I can see where this could go, where it's like becomes a literal part of your life. Or becomes
Great.
this overwhelming thing.
He's hooked in already.
Yeah. He's already there. For shame.
No, because I tried to watch a movie on it, and it was like, there's too many buttons, there's too many settings, it's too distracting.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's too much. And saying that at like 38 years old is crazy. Like it bothers me. The kids and their technology. It really felt like that kind of moment.
I feel like if you would watch a movie in a VR headset, it would be like using your phone but just holding it super close to your eyes. Like it would feel weird.
No, it makes it as big as the house. It makes
Okay.
changes the dimension of everything and moves it out, but
Moves
then makes
out.
it huge.
Oh, I should have guessed.
The immersion level
It's
is-
crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy. And then obviously you have the whole thing around your ears and your head and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like I get it. I get it for these young
Yeah.
audiences.
But it does make it a single experience. Like that's your experience.
Right.
And you won't be surrounded by everybody around you, which is what
I might make everybody watch my bucket pick in the office so I can watch your reactions.
I'm getting more and
You're gonna
more
bring
scared
helmets.
for this.
I got them programmed with the movie already.
I've got it on my smartwatch. We can just watch it here. I'll set it in the middle of the table and we'll just watch
Some
it
of the
on my
movies
watch.
you say you just watch on your phone. Oh,
I do.
breaks my heart.
I have to. That's
I
the world I
know.
live in.
I know.
I do not control the remote in my house.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's a phone thing. It's a headphone thing. That's the world I live in. It's not the world I want to live in, but it's the world I live in. We make concessions.
You do what you can. At least you're watching
I
it.
opened Pandora's box when I moved NFL Sunday onto my phone from the main TV in the house, and now everybody's like, "Can't you just watch that on your phone?"
Oh,
I'm like, "Yes, I can."
But it's not the same. No, I got a lot of apologies to make for my dad taking the TV away from him. So thinking about it now in hindsight.
All right, well, let's talk about our bucket pick for last week,
Yep.
which was Notting Hill.
The sweeping romantic comedy epic starring Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts. A movie that I forgot I picked. I
was blaming this on Alyssa all week.
yeah, you were.
I really had a brain fart last week because I heard Notting Hill. I thought it was a Robin Hood movie, and I know you really like the Robin Hood movie that Ridley Scott made. I don't know what the town is called.
Nottingham?
Nottingham?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was called that for some reason.
I'm not willing to. I so badly wanted to put Ridley Scott's Robin Hood in the bucket, and then make sure I clarified that it was the director's cut of Ridley Scott's Robin Hood. That is
That's gonna take 4 hours.
an epic 4 hours, and it's so good. But I'm not willing to risk my marriage or my employees for this. They're like, I am not watching. I'll be the only one.
like
in here
Cody would watch it anyway.
It's so good. No, she wouldn't. We had this conversation all week at Las Vegas. She's never seen The Godfather. Will never see The Godfather. If someone puts it in the bucket, she will refuse to see it.
Someone
know.
who works for movie theaters. Even we have blinders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Refuses to watch it. Mostly because of the runtime. And mostly because everybody else says it's good. That's the counterculturalist in her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it too.
I feel like that's a lot of people. Like after a
Yeah.
certain point you hear it's so good, like do you really need to watch it in agreement? But
It's almost as good as Ridley Scott's Robin Hood, director's cut. But back to our bucket pick this week. Kyle, what made you choose Notting Hill?
I panicked because
Panic pick.
It was kind of a panic pick because
Oh,
I
because
picked
we both put in
Birdcage.
Birdcage. That's right.
So I had to swipe and pick something else. But I did want something feel good because we just were coming off of Birdcage, and that's kind of a feel good story. So I don't know. I guess I went down a rabbit hole and it just stumbled onto me. So I watched Pretty Woman recently as well. So I was like, I'll do another Julia Roberts movie. Why not?
Alyssa, what were your thoughts on this film?
Well, Kyle should share his thoughts first, and then I can share mine.
I was let down by this. I thought Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts gave some cute moments throughout the movie, but they were sprinkled in. I didn't feel like swept away with them for the whole movie. Honestly, the highest points for me was like the surrounding cast. I just thought that they were way more entertaining, and they really lifted the movie up for my entertainment. But I felt like in terms of like romance movies or rom-coms, like there was something where their chemistry wasn't there. They just weren't able to find it for some reason. And the story just felt like it kept yo-yoing for me a bit too much, where it was like, oh, we're back to square one again. Oh, and now we're drifted apart. Oh, and we're back to square one again, which could work, but it just doesn't work in this story for some reason. So, had good moments, but otherwise I was let down by it.
Well, Kyle shared those thoughts with me,
And that
and
was
Shayla
him.
felt the same way.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had a panic moment because I was so excited when Kyle picked it. I was like, "Oh, I love this movie. This is like classic." I was excited, and then hearing them both say that, I went, "Oh God! Well, it's been a minute since I've seen it. I'm misremembering."
Yeah, with all these movies in the bucket, you're like, I misremember this one. There's
That
something
makes you
here.
sweat.
And so I was sweating.
Yeah.
So I watched it again last night, and I still stand firm. I still love it.
Hey, all right.
I was nervous about it. I love Hugh Grant. I loved Julia Roberts. I was scared because I was like, oh, maybe Julia Roberts I wasn't that much of a fan of, but I think she's great.
Impossible.
Right, impossible. You're correct.
Even in this movie, it's
Yeah, because she comes off as really cold, but that's just kind of the reality of her situation. And then Hugh Grant is so charming and so,
yeah.
British.
Hugh
And
Grant
then-
is at his most Huey.
Yeah, that's fair to
His
say.
Huey is.
Like this
Most
is where I feel like it's his thing becoming a caricature.
Yeah.
I could easily see this being like the tipping point of him doing these movies and everyone being like, all right, we've seen this enough times.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. Maybe it comes
No, I
later.
think you're right.
But this one, for some reason, I just got that idea of like, oh, this is him really like kind of like the Matthew McConaughey thing where after a while with him doing rom-coms as well, you're like, I know what
Okay, I
I know
get
what
That's
it.
the one I joked about with Cody last night. Was like, what are we going to do? Have a Matthew McConaughey month where we pick him falling in love with a different girl?
Yeah,
every
exactly.
week
Yeah.
For 6 weeks.
I
'cause
wonder
there
where
are
this is
6
gonna
of
go.
these
There
movies.
there's a lot, and they're kind of him's the same.
And it's everybody. It's
Yeah.
Kate Hudson. It's Jennifer Gardner. There's probably one with
Reese Witherspoon?
Jennifer Lopez.
Probably.
Should I find
Was
out?
that the wedding planner?
Maybe.
Was that her?
That sounds right.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, but there's probably a dozen of these.
There are,
and she's
yeah.
like, well, if we had Matthew McConaughey month, what would you pick? I'm like, Dallas Buyers Club, Wolf of Wall Street.
Like,
Maybe Two for the Money, which was like a sports gambling movie before sports gambling was legal
Yeah.
with Al Pacino, and it's horrible.
There are other avenues.
I mean,
but
I'd be picking Interstellar.
same.
Yeah, and then you guys would have to pick a different movie again.
Yeah, I
you would
know.
have.
Then I would
we
panic and be like, I don't know, Wedding Planner. Which, by the way,
Those guys had names.
It was. Yeah, Jennifer Lopez. It was everybody that was considered like a pretty actress.
Yeah.
In the late 90s, early
Like,
2000s.
okay, here you go.
Right.
Here's what happens. but no, I still loved it. I thought the chemistry they had, it made those moments where they actually connected really special.
Okay.
I love the surrounding cast. I think they're great. I love British humor, and it seems, I guess, a little slower compared to like other rom-coms, but I was here for it.
I think the British humor aspect maybe did hold me back slightly because I don't really gel with the dryness all that much.
And that makes sense.
Um,
Or why you wouldn't like it, because I think it's
yeah.
there.
But
Pretty
weirdly,
prevalent.
Yeah, but weirdly enough, the surrounding cast is really good and surprisingly funny. So I don't know.
Okay,
I can't
Ken,
figure
what
it out
did
for
you
myself.
think? He was refusing to say anything until this moment.
He was making us go first.
He
the
was.
Jerk.
Yeah.
Although he's looking up something, so
Yeah,
he's
well,
suspicious.
Kate Hudson twice.
Still love
Yes.
Yep.
Um,
Now, is this still Matthew McConaughey or Hugh Grant?
Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
Jennifer Gardner. No, I don't care about Hugh Grant.
Jennifer Gardner. Yeah, obviously.
Sarah Jessica Parker
Oh.
Oh, in
Failure to Launch.
Failure to Launch, yeah.
with Terry Bradshaw, Hall of Fame quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Was he in that one?
He's
Oh.
the dad in that one. He's great.
Why did I think he was in the vacation movie with
He still could have
Vince
been.
Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston?
He's been.
Was he in that one too? Oh, okay, maybe that was it. Maybe he was in that as well.
Jennifer Lopez, and then he was in Magic Mike, which is technically a
course.
romantic comedy for all the ladies out there.
Mm-hmm.
So hilarious, like all these guys, and then he's in like True Detective and blows
yeah.
the doors off. He's won an Oscar for crying out loud.
It was such a major whiplash when he just went from being the rom-com guy to
It's like, oh, you really can't act.
yeah. There was just no leadway, like one or two indie movies,
Yeah.
but no, he just
full
just
stop.
jumped straight in.
He was Bridget Jones,
I'm looking at a Hugh Grant movies. Yeah, Bridget Jones, Notting Hill, obviously.
Renee Zellweger.
2 Weeks Notice, 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh, that one's so good too.
Love Actually. Oh, Love Actually was actually After Notting Hill.
When he started,
Yeah,
when he started narrating, I was like, he's gonna say "Love is all around us." I was just waiting and narrating at the
Come
beginning.
on.
Do it.
Well, I watched it. I took it in. It was great.
Yay!
It was great. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes.
From beginning to end, I was worried when they started, like, when she left him. I love the scene where they get exposed by the paparazzi and she leaves and he walks through the street and the season changes.
Oh, I love that part.
That is a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember much about the movie, but I did remember that shot. Like, that was like incredible when it
Yeah.
goes from summer, spring to fall, back to spring.
It's very creative.
Yeah.
Amazing shot. Like one of those, like, once in a lifetime. Like, this director, like, agreed to do this movie because of this shot.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing else in the movie that was like that impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Film wise, and it was like,
Yeah.
whoa. No, it was great. Julia Roberts, there's something about her. I mean, she's not so beautiful. She's not so talented. It's something about her with that stupid laugh.
Yep.
That just like cuts through the heart of everybody. And you're like, yeah, she's amazing. Something about her with that stupid giggle.
This is easily one of the longest amount of time she's gone frowning in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
And as soon as she flashes even a hint of the smile, you're just like, oh, everything's
I'm
okay
back.
now.
Oh, yeah.
Reese Ifans comes in as the roommate. No, it's great. If anybody, I can't imagine you guys saying this
him
isn't
so much.
It's
I
so
love him.
great. There's nothing wrong with this. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just a nice.
Lots of praise for the rom-com. All right.
I know.
No, this one was
I
great.
like this from Ken.
Nope, no issues with this one. I think. No, I'd put it up there with top 10 bucket picks. I think this was a great choice.
Jeez, am
for
I a
movies.
monster?
I was never.
Did I
I
miss
was. I
something?
was never going to watch this again. There was no reason. I mean, I saw it as like a middle school, high school date movie at some point.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. But no, it's great. Excellent choice, Kyle.
All right. All right.
W. Kyle.
Fine by me. At least people
Not to
liked
him,
it.
but to us.
That's what matters. All right, Ken.
Oh, God.
This is
Okay.
your moment now.
This is scary. Oh, you're going to make. Oh, God.
This is scary.
I'm
There's one
I'm
left.
scared. Yeah, but he's been hyping this up for so long.
Oh, it's going to be okay.
Oh, God. Okay. Here we go.
He has such an evil smile. Though.
Action Jackson.
Ooh, wait.
This is
I'm
do
going
not
through my
know
Rolodex
this.
here.
a Carl Weathers starring action movie.
Okay.
Starring Sharon Stone, Craig T. Nelson as the bad guy.
And he stars in it. Carl Weathers stars in
Carl
it.
Weathers is the man.
Whoa.
Let's
He is
Okay.
the man. This was like his big, huge starring set piece. Like, this was him. They put him in a movie as he's in every scene.
Yes.
Okay.
He's
Yeah, I got to see.
it's
The-
incredible.
Look
The
at
one sheet
him.
is hilarious.
The poster feels like
Oh.
Beverly Hills Cop.
My God.
Yeah,
look at that.
and it's got some humor.
That's
It's
amazing.
only an action movie. You do not get below the surface in this. There's no subtext.
Goddamn, look at him.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Glorious.
Yeah.
For
Holy.
some reason now I'm compared to.
R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
I know.
I am comparing.
I'm guessing it was all the cocaine he did during this movie to get
no,
that fit.
it couldn't be that. There might have been a cartoon at some point, probably.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I'm seeing
Nope.
something like
Holds-
that.
Okay.
Holds a special place in my heart. This is like the pinnacle of like underrated 80s action movies.
Cool.
There's Die Hard and there's Rambo and
Right.
there's
Yeah.
Predator. There's those that everybody knows about, everybody's seen, or in my wife's case says they've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that most people haven't seen. So if you're listening to us, just take a minute. Yes, it's an 80s R-rated action movie. There are drugs. There is nudity. There is excessive violence. But that's what makes the 80s so special. And that is why
We lived wild and free, darn it.
starting next week, our new genre for the bucket is going to be 80s movies.
Yes.
Everyone's picking out an 80s movie, throwing it in the bucket, and we're going to get a wild mess of 80s movies
I'm
to
so
go
curious.
over.
They're
and
not all
review.
going to be action movies.
No.
As much as I was like the thing.
I was actually
the
planning
action
on not
movie.
putting it in an action movie, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I was going through my list, and it is absurd.
I
It's
can
just
only
only-
imagine.
It was absurd. And I was like, okay, now I have to throw out anything that shows up on a top 50 list because people will have seen it or said they saw it. So I throw those out.
Liars.
Yeah. Well, it was just like top lists are like Goonies and Back to the Future. And I was like, no, those are dumb for this particular thing. So
you have to get into the meat of the 80s.
Yeah.
That got the blood pumping.
So I am very excited for the next 6-7 weeks of movies that we have upcoming. But please watch Action Jackson. Join us next week. Carl Weathers in all of his glory.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
I think this one will be cool.
I'm going to go watch it right now.
With this one. Forget about working.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Off the Break Podcast. Find us on all podcast platforms and be sure to like and follow our Facebook and Instagram pages at Off the Break Podcast.